Three Wise Radio. Hey, Mikey, he likes it.
I guess if you have to keep them both, that's fine. But if like Sonic died, that wouldn't.
I feel like Sonic's on par with like Mega Man. Like
No.
they're very iconic, but like their time's done.
You just can't. He's just running. Like there's not.
Exactly.
They haven't been able.
So what's Mario doing?
They haven't
Like-
been. Hey, there we go. They haven't been able to broaden him the way that they have with Mario. Like the 3D world with Mario is more expansive. There's more to do because the 3D world for Sonic, for the most part, is still just running, but in a straight line instead of across the screen. It's in a straight line from the screen. It's not to say they couldn't, but in the attempts that they have done it, where it's been like Shadow had a game where he had guns.
That game was bad.
That whole shtick is more gimmicky because it's all about the sensation of speed. Yeah. Whereas Mario is not about the sensation of speed, it's timing and stuff, which Sonic's got timing in there too, but it's just harder to adapt that to modern games, like modern playstyles. I don't hate Sonic. I got no beef against Sonic. Those games are fun. Nintendo or Sonic on Dreamcast was an awesome game. The first one I think that came out for it was really cool and fun, but nowadays it's just maybe if they made a good one, I don't know. I mean, it seemed combative, but I would think that the push is definitely still there to continue the Mario world than it is the
More on Marvel Universe and I don't know. Guess what happens when you stop in the middle of it?
Did you just turn Marvel from Mario to Marvel?
We're on Marvel Universe.
No, I never want to see that. Welcome to Three Wise Radio, a podcast where we talk about movies, video games, comic books, TV, technology, the internet, and pretty much everything else media related. My name is Joe Greller. I am joined as usual by Garrett Welker and Sam Pixley. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, Joe. I still love that we talk about internet.
Yeah.
We do, though. I
know. It's just so, like, this just in with the internet.
Which is actually a lot of things, though, with today.
Yeah. Side note, this is the first time that I've watched the sound waves as they're recording during your little intro cadence. It's really cool to watch. Sorry.
How neat!
But people listen to this show on the internet. You find, basically, you live on the internet.
Yeah, it's just when you hear about, this just in from the internet, it automatically sounds like there's no credibility whatsoever. It's such a source for information and then also such a disregarded source for information at the exact same time.
Wow, it's almost like you have to do research.
Yeah, that's correct.
What people always have told you years and years before.
Pish posh.
Correct.
So anyway, on today's show, we'll be reviewing the first episode of Marvel's Iron Fist on Netflix. As usual with Netflix shows, we only review the first episode. That way, if we spoil it, we're only spoiling the premiere for you, and then you can watch the rest of the series at your own pace.
I would go so far as to say we do it because then we don't have to watch 10 episodes in 24 hours.
13
episodes in 24 hours.
One of us did.
I call it a win-win. You watched all of it?
Yeah.
Garrett's not as cool as us, though.
You're right.
So we'll be reviewing that a little bit later on, and then we'll be going through what could possibly make the worst live-action Disney film with Beauty and the Beast coming out this week in theaters. And with that, it takes us to headlines. Our first headline of the week, Beauty and the Beast is estimated to rake in $170 million this weekend.
Woo!
If it finishes off with that, it'll be more than Batman vs. Superman from last March, and it'll be more than the last PG movie to currently hold that record, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Good for them.
So,
You say PG-13 or PG?
PG. I don't make the rating system.
Deathly Hallows did not seem like a PG movie.
No, man, you got to get those.
Maybe like a hard PG?
Yeah,
Okay.
like you got to get those kids in there.
A hard PG.
PG-13 was not a thing till like 1988, 89.
Really?
Then Home Alone came out.
No.
PG-13.
Actually, License to Kill is the first Bond movie that's rated PG-13, and Batman is one of the first movies, I believe, to be rated PG-13 as well. Huh. So it's not a thing till the late 80s. It used to just be G, PG, R, or X, if you want to get some nudity in there back in the day. So,
yeah.
But yeah, so 170 million in March. As we were talking about, March is almost like a new tentpole month. It seems like there's a blockbuster coming out every weekend. Just about.
I think
this
it's
month.
almost like the only thing that concerns me about it is I was trying to equate like what that means, and the only thing that it could kind of seem like is it's all of the companies now opening their stores for Black Friday on Thursday.
Yeah.
It's how like everybody's trying to get the summer opened with their movie, and eventually we'll have movies in February that are like these big action movies.
Did you see that? The summer started early in January 14th.
Yep. That's the only thing I could equate it to, and I didn't like where it was going with
I don't
that,
like
so
that
I just
either.
ignored it. Good for them though, but it's also exactly what we talked about beforehand with these like biggest earnings for the month of March or the month of whatever. Anytime there's a new franchise, there's like
Right.
a 60% chance that it's just going to take the lead.
Yeah, and whoever says Hollywood's in trouble, I just don't see it. Kong raked in another 28.9, Logan another 17.5, Get Out another 13.2. So,
And the number one spot right now, isn't it?
it was last week, and then it just fell down to 2.
Booty and the Beast took it.
And then also the Belko experiment, which I've seen trailers for, which looks really good. It's like, have you seen that? It's where everyone's locked in the office
One of those
together.
social experiment things.
Yeah.
They've made a lot of movies about that, mostly like B movies.
But took in 4.1, so for its production value,
There you
pretty
go.
darn good. But that
Yeah.
was 7th at 4.1.
I am interested to see how much money the month of March brings in after Power Rangers is released. You only get it for a few days, but damn, man.
You get it for a full week.
This is a big month.
Yeah. In other movie news, actor Joe Manganiello is no longer certain he's in the Batman movie.
I don't think anybody is. Well, did you hear all the stuff that's come out?
Yeah,
don't
during an interview with Pittsburgh Today Live promoting his new Smurfs movie. Good God, Joe, what are you doing in the Smurfs movie? He asked if he'll be playing Deathstroke, and he responded with, maybe. We'll see. But after Affleck has stepped down, it's gone from Instagram photos of Manganiello training and talking about source material to absolutely complete silence on him. And now there's reports that the film is getting a rewrite as well, with Deathstroke no longer being the villain. So
I just forgot that he was married to Sofia Vergara.
yes,
I was like, oh, good for him.
it's a very beautiful family.
Yeah. Great genetics there. Also there's some other stuff about Batman too. They had a complete rewrite, and now who else is saying? Oh my gosh, I'm totally blanking. J. Jonah Jameson.
J.K. Simmons said he just had a very small role in Justice League.
Yeah, and wasn't sure if he was going to come back.
Right.
So everything's kind of all over the place for that. No comment.
I'm actually at a 50% certainty myself that we'll see this movie. I could see them doing either a hard reboot or the comic book genre just burning out quick enough, but I don't see them filming this movie and getting it turned around in 2 years even.
Maybe.
For like a 2019 release. I mean, that's what you're aiming for right now. If all of a sudden I see a trailer, unless it's like, joke's on you, we've been filming the whole time, biggest troll ever, I'll be like, great, give me that 2018 release. But if I see a release date, it's still for like 2018 or something, isn't it?
No, they pushed it. And now
Okay.
they're trying to figure out what movie is going to fill that spot. And I was like, just back off for a minute.
Yeah. And it's like they're looking at a 2019 release date, maybe, but I don't know. If I have a story coming up in a second that if I hear a release date like I am for this movie, I'm going to be very upset if I hear a release date for Batman before I've even... It's just not going to be good then. No movie is that good. Look at the movies we talked about recently that were really good. Logan, Deadpool, those movies took years to create. Like an actual film does, where the director and the producers sit down and scope a vision, and then you get artists working on the renditions of it, and then you have set design and everything else.
Easy, fancy boy. This is just karate kicks in action.
No, that's another thing we'll be talking about later.
Karate kicks? Mm-hmm. Iron Fist.
Yeah, there it is, bringing it full circle.
Yeah.
Also in Batman news, though, composer Hans Zimmerman said one of the reasons he stepped down from superhero films is that he found writing for Affleck's Batman to be a lot harder than it was to write for Bale's Batman. Zimmer spent months trying to come up with something for Affleck to recapture the connection he had with Bale's Batman, but ultimately couldn't quite shake that off. He said that he found Ben's character to be more middle-aged and seemed to be too grumpy, so he didn't quite feel the pain that he was able to bring to screen with Christian Bale. And it was the pain in Batman that interested him in the first place.
I mean, I don't really know how composers' minds work. You know,
I buy his statement,
can-
but it also to me says that, listen, Hans Zimmer's a great composer, but he shouldn't have composed everything. And if he was having that disconnect early on, I'm glad Junkie XL stepped in, but maybe Junkie XL should have had the entire film to himself from the beginning. Because in my opinion, if you can't connect with the pain in Batman, the older he gets, you don't understand Batman. Batman only has more pain the older he gets.
Yeah. So much pain, so much regret, so much loss, such sadness.
So many
I think
Robins.
that's more of him just being loyal to what's his name?
Nolan.
No, Nolan.
Yeah, well,
think
because he is
that's what-
doing Dunkirk as well.
I think that's what that is.
Gotcha.
Which, big deal.
In other movie news, and this is the one I was alluding to, just a few months before Sony is rebooting the third version of the Spider-Man franchise, they've set a 2018 date for Venom.
Oh yeah, that's dumb.
No word on if it will have any connection to the MCU. As of right now, it's supposedly a standalone story. How? How do you do this?
We've talked about this several times. You can't do a standalone without properly introducing Eddie. You can't do the symbiote without Spider-Man.
Here's
You can do Agent Venom, but then it's still like.
You still can't do that without.
But you can.
okay. How do you get okay?
Not well. I'm not
For a
saying
lot
you.
of the promotions I've been seeing, like it's all going to be like Eddie Brock. It's not going to be Flash Thompson.
Maybe it'll be another thing. Maybe that's just what Tom Holland is going to do for Superman. Is just show up in other movies
Spider-Man?
for 15. Oh yeah, the Spider-Man for 15 minutes. Just like Civil War. Now he shows up in Venom for 15 minutes. And he's just kind of there for a little bit. And
Hell
like,
of a
oh, we
career.
got him. I guess.
No, so there is a correct way you could do this, but you can't get your Venom movie out by 2018.
No.
You have to push it back. However, what's the one thing we always argue with the Phoenix in the
Comes from
X-Men movies?
space.
He comes from space.
Symbiote comes from space.
Symbiote comes from space, and they did it very
Infinity War.
poorly. Exactly.
Oh
That's what I
no,
was
it
getting
came
to.
from space in Spider-Man 3.
No,
Yes,
It
it
came
did.
from the
No, yes, it
space.
did.
no proof. No proof. I was listening to another podcast, and I like their theory because everything is so scientifically driven that could have just been an experiment. Someone shot that out of a building into the park because all you see is fall from the sky.
You know, that could be true with how liberal those scientists were like, oh, there's something on the sand machine. It's probably just a pigeon. It'll fly away. Gear it up.
Yep. I mean,
You're probably, yeah.
there is no proof that that's from space.
Yeah, that's very fair.
It just fell from the sky. Someone could have dropped it out of a plane. I'm blowing Garrett's mind right now.
It's possible.
But wait, what I was alluding to, Garrett beat me to the punch on it. Infinity War, yeah. Spider-Man will be going to space here in 2018 for Infinity War. If you want to write in your Venom, Sony and Marvel, you're apparently working deals. This is how you get your Venom.
When is Infinity War Part 1 scheduled to come out?
May 4th, 2018.
I mean, so they could easily just.
You could, but if we're going to go through the trouble of getting Spider-Man to space, let him do the black suit. And also, it gives you a chance to have the black suit be your second Spider-Man movie, which sounds like it's jumping the gun, but if you do it through him getting it in space in Infinity War, no one's going to bat an eye at it. They're going to go, logical step.
Yeah.
They're going to go, okay, that's fine. And then you have like your little face-off where your entire movie's Venom, and then boom, you go your two separate ways.
Just something stinky about it.
It's stinky because Spider-Man doesn't work as feature films. Spider-Man stories are told over years and issues of comics, so Spider-Man is best as a TV series. You don't have the same powerful impact when you bring a villain to screen in less than an hour and then try and face him off against Spider-Man. You need to see his journey through what creates him and takes it through that, and then the back and forth. And a lot of Spider-Mans are whodunits, man. Who's behind that jackal mask for the 700th time? Like, that's what...
The same guy.
Yeah, always. But it seems to be a mystery to Peter Parker. So
He's the smartest boy in school.
not anymore.
Yeah, that's fair.
Smartest thing in whatever he's doing now. Running Stark? Something like Stark?
Parker Industries?
Yeah, that
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Anyway, speaking of space, Ridley Scott says I guess, he's been talking to Cameron a little too much, intends to make 4 more Alien films.
He's just an excited guy.
In an interview with Fandango, Scott was asked about his plans after Covenant, to which the director replied, "There will be another one before we kind of literally and logically clockwise back into the rear back head of Alien."
What?
That is there will be another one before we kind of literally and logically clockwise back into the rear back head of Alien.
Aliens do have very large rear heads,
Yes.
so it's tough to
And-
maneuver, tough to navigate. He also sounds like a man that is slowly losing his grip on reality.
He does.
I mean, he is old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This dude's talking about pumping 4 movies out, and he's 80, 79.
Ew, I don't know about that old. He's in his mid 70s. Like,
I'm
5 years when you're at that age, though, does make a difference.
At least 70.
Yeah, at least 70.
We'll say that.
Anyway, when asked how these future films would fit into the overall timeline, he did talk about the name Awakening, which will be apparently the next
I
Alien
wish he had
film.
just said like a glove, and then just let it.
So apparently, this is how the movies will go. The first one was obviously Prometheus.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're getting Covenant, and now we're going to get a sequel to Prometheus / prequel to Covenant next, called Awakening. Ridley Scott is making the Alien series more complicated than the Saw franchise,
This is making Saw look like child's play.
right? Thank you. That was good, actually.
Quarter pound.
Ridley
But
Scott turns 80 years old this year.
whoa. Okay, you were
November.
right on it. My bad, dude.
So I think what we're kind of just looking at here with him is he's really excited, much like a lot of us are, to find out like the history of the xenomorphs, like what they're for. I guess not so much for him as finding out instead of creating, but he just now that he's piecing it together, it fits in at different places, and that just gets sloppy.
Just in his head only.
Yeah.
Listen, the only successful trilogy that was out of order, and then they ruined it with a fourth, was Indiana Jones. So,
Yeah, but that doesn't even need to be out of order.
yes, it does.
I mean, kind of.
Explains why he... All right, anyway. Speaking of franchises, Henry Cavill has accepted a role in Mission Impossible 6. He will be joining Tom Cruise, Rebecca Ferguson, Simon Pegg, and Jeremy Renner in the 6th installment. No word on if Alec Baldwin is back. It was a cool little story I had before our printer quit deciding to print ink because it's out of ink. But apparently it was like Connor
McGregor?
No, it's like McCure or something like that. Whoever the director is of the last one who's doing the next in Mission Impossible asked Cavill to be a part of it via Instagram. And after like a little back and forth, Cavill said that his Instagram will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Nice.
So,
This is the first man that I've ever seen his typecast for 2 things. He can either be superhero or secret agent.
Oh, yeah.
And now that is the only 2 places the
because he was in Man from Uncle,
Man from
and,
Uncle?
like Cold Light of Day or something like that with Bruce Willis. Where
Yeah,
he was
something like that.
Wow, you're right.
And then
Hey, man,
Superman.
there's nothing wrong with that.
And he was a finalist for Bond when they were doing Bond in 2006.
That's what happens when you're dapper and handsome, I guess.
He could probably still do Bond.
Well, you know what? Bonds have worn wigs before. Yeah, I was going to say that hairline's given away a little bit, but the most famous Bond wore a wig. Anyway,
Yeah, Connery wore a wig.
all of them, yeah. Anyway, in other news, and this one's just a fun headline, Mads Mikkelsen actually walked out of his Fantastic Four audition because he thought the script was so stupid.
Wasn't it that's what they asked him to do?
Yeah. So he was auditioning for 2015's Fantastic Four reboot. People are assuming it was for the role of Reed Richards that eventually went to Miles Teller, but nothing's proven on that.
How much did that script change?
Right?
We're going to get Mad Mikkelsen. He's out. Scratch the whole thing.
He said he had to pretend to extend his arm like a rubber man, and he walked out just because of that. His exact response was, I think I actually can't do it. It's not about you. I'm sorry. This is wrong. Mr. Fantastic was auditioning for. Yeah. Also, though, in hindsight, a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see him fitting those parameters.
No.
I can't tell. I like that idea, though, because I always had the...
So he apparently, though, couldn't stretch his arm like a rubber band man, but he was fine, like, swirling his hands around doing nothing for Doctor Strange.
Well, they probably, in the audition, didn't say, swirl your hands around like you're casting a spell. Which is, that's the thing, I like, respect to him, because whenever you see, like, the cheesy making fun of the acting process, where, like, a drama teacher is like, okay, now pretend that you're melting. What? Yeah, just, like, give the emotion that you're melting. Well, okay, there's no context or anything like that. You're telling me to provide you something that is not a human emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very true. In internet news, and the way internet news is actually done, Netflix is changing the way viewers will rate movies and TV shows. So back a while ago, they rolled it out in a beta form that there's going to be more of a thumbs up and thumbs down scenario for whether or not you like movies. And now instead it's going to be more along the lines of, well, I mean, that's what it's going to be as opposed to the
star system.
Yeah, the star system. They're getting rid of the star system. And I do like what the vice president of Netflix said. He said, 5 stars feels very yesterday now. We're spending billions of dollars on the titles we're producing and licensing. And with these big catalogs, that just adds a challenge. What? 5 stars feels so yesterday? 5 stars is still how everything is done in a rating system. How many stars would you give it out of 5? It's not...
It's a percentage point. It's a percentage.
Yeah. What out of 10 would you give it? Like
this entire thing, just like with their new thing where they're like, now you can skip the intro to a show, which, by the way,
I hate that.
after you
never nails it in the right area.
But the thing is after you were watching a show, when you're in a binge mode, which I think is the only time you would want to skip those, really,
right?
It already did that for you. This is just the slow evolution of mankind turning into the World of Warcraft player on South Park. It's just slowly evolving. You're like, oh no, 5 stars, that's too much thinking. Good or bad? Like, I'm just waiting for like that's.
You're right.
Like, what do you do? What are we doing anymore? Where 5 stars is like, oh, really?
I don't think I've ever really rated anything on Netflix even.
I've rated stuff to get, and then it did work to show me more what I would like in suggestions. So like I've done that to where it's like, oh, I don't like Trailer Park Boys or stuff like that. So I rate it 0 or whatever, and then I'm like, oh, I really like Clerks and stuff like that. So I'll give that 5, and it's kind of been better. So it's hindered more towards what I might like as opposed to that. But I've never like watched something and then gone back and did it. I just went through their catalog or whatever. And did the suggested titles.
I'm just curious as to how much data is actually being used to record how many stars there are in these movies and TV shows. Just like...
Not much.
I'm calling horse shit on their excuse.
So, yeah, that's what I said. I'm not a huge fan of this either, and I just hate that term of 5 stars feels very yesterday now. 2 Thumbs was very yesterday. That was Siskel and Ebert in the early 90s. 2 Thumbs is way older than 5 stars, I feel like.
It's like, the most mild version of is this movie good or bad or great or decent? It's like, that's too complicated. Let's just say yes or no. Like, or, it's kind of disgusting.
Anyway, the solo Aquaman film has been delayed yet again, but not by much, just from October 5th, 2018 to December 21st, 2018. If that date sounds familiar, it was the original date for James Cameron's Avatar 2, which he recently said will not be coming in 2018. For more on that story, listen to last week's cast.
Covered it for 80 minutes, probably.
We covered it for a decent amount of time.
Felt like 80 minutes.
Avatar felt like way longer than 80 hours. So I'm actually okay with it. 3 months, not that big of a deal. We've seen stuff like that happen before.
No, not concerning at all.
That's
actually kind of refreshing for them to be like, hey, let's push it a little bit. Without having a freak out about it.
And here's the thing, what this is going to mean. It's going to be Warner Brothers is trying to swoop in right after Star Wars now. It's going to hit the weekend after the Han Solo movie.
I don't think that's going to do anything.
Han Solo or...
No, I don't think that's going to cut from Han Solo at all.
I think it might. You know what? I honestly think it might. I think it'll be a good one. I think it'll be a good indicator as how well these films can last on their own. Because when you see a March release or whatever, as we just talked about, like, like Beauty and the Beast came out, and then before that you had Logan and everything else. But you don't really see like the huge undercut of, we've got to beat this to the box office. We've got to beat this to the box office. I think if you can get still pretty good numbers from an Aquaman release date in December, a week after a Star Wars film comes out, that's going to tell you whether or not this character can make it, or whether or not this film can make it. Yeah. And I still think that's a good idea. I think we've seen in the past, because of these Star Wars films coming out, no one wants to do a release date there. No one wants to push against it. That's why we saw a lot of your more Oscar-driven movies come from independents that were released at the Toronto Film Festival or something. Yeah. Star Wars has kind of turned what used to be the winter stomping ground of big releases, your second coming of summer almost, or your second area, into Star Wars time. Yeah. So maybe this might change it, and I'm hoping that it will. Our last story is television related, and this is just really weird to me. So, I'm a fan of the 12 Monkeys movie.
Yeah.
And I actually like the man who stars in the 12 Monkeys series. He's from Nikita. He played Pyro in the X-Men movies.
Okay.
He's a real. I think he's a pretty good actor and some comedically well-timed actor. And 12 Monkeys has gotten good reviews for the first 2 seasons. Well, before season 3 has debuted, they've said that they will have a 4th and final season spanning of 10 episodes that will air in the summer of 2018. Meanwhile, though, when season 3 does debut on May 19th, all 10 episodes will debut over the course of 3 nights, airing 3 to 4 consecutive episodes each night.
What?
So Sci-Fi is testing this with season 3. They're testing binge watching on normal television.
That's not going to work.
You don't think it'll work?
Because you still have to tune in at a specific time.
Sure.
So it still doesn't give people the feeling of control that they want when they binge. So you're telling me that I have to sit at a TV for 3 hours now? I think people will give that a thumbs down.
I actually like this idea just because it's modern television testing something new to combat Netflix. It's testing something to see whether or not it could work for them. You see people actually tune in for Sherlock, and Sherlock isn't. It's kind of like half that. It's like a 2-hour type deal that you've got to sit down for 3 weeks in a row, and people can't wait to do that sometimes.
That's fair.
And you got to see a movie that way. So it's just an interesting way to approach television to me, because you know you're eventually going to sell it to Netflix anyway and get those streaming dollars that. So if you're going to air it, why not air it to see people who would rather shoot through it all the way? And if you're I think you're more inclined to tune in nights 2 and 3 if you enjoyed night 1. Like if you make time and really want to see it, you're going to make time for nights 2 and 3.
Yeah.
So you're going to if you get the hook, you're going to continue on. And we used to see something similar to this all the time. There used to be miniseries on TV. I would remember like movie miniseries where it'd be like, oh man, catch part 1 on Sunday and then part 2 on Wednesday, and part 3 on Friday, or something weird like that. And like the made for CBS movie Hurricane That Struck Georgia. Like, it was something weird like that would be over the course of like a week-long thing.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I like that it's sci-fi, right?
Yes.
I like that sci-fi is starting to almost become legitimate again, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of their shows are getting really good reviews.
Yeah, The Magician's has gotten good reviews. I mean, I was a huge fan of Being Human back in the day. I know Warehouse 13. Like, they had great shows, and then they kind of all ended, and now they're trying to recoup again with what they could be. Speaking of great shows, we'll take a look at Marvel's Iron Fist a little bit later on, but first and foremost, with Beauty and the Beast in theaters this weekend and The Lion King supposedly being made, what would make the worst live-action Disney film? Spoiler alert, it may or may not have to do if there's any live-action people in it.
Losers always complain about their best. Winners go home and listen to Three Wise Radio.
So, what would make the worst live-action Disney film? I think there's some actual pretty good ones that we haven't seen yet, and I think there's other ones that I would like to see differently. Like, for example, we have Jungle Book, we're getting Beauty and the Beast, there's live-action people in those are pretty good.
The worst one ever for me has already actually been made.
Which was?
The worst one you could ever possibly make, because I don't want to see it again, Pinocchio.
Oh, okay, you're talking about on TV, though.
Yes.
When it had Usher as, like, the puppet master guy.
I'm just jumping the gun. Pinocchio would be
And wasn't Drew
the
Carey
worst
Geppetto?
one. No,
I think that's
so.
the one I'm thinking of. There was one on ABC where like Usher was in, and I'm pretty sure Drew Carey was Geppetto. Yeah, like it was weird, man.
There may be.
I did not know about this until just now, and I'm glad I didn't know about this.
I remember
about the live action Pinocchio.
Yeah.
I remember watching it.
The Adventures of Pinocchio, 1996.
Who's in it?
No, Martin. What's his name was?
Oh,
Geppetto.
okay.
No, it was not. Martin Landau.
Martin Landau. Okay, never mind then. I thought there was one on ABC or something like that.
I mean, there very well may be. Rob Schneider's in this.
Oh God. Yeah.
God.
It's Pinocchio's nose.
But also, like when we're talking about live action TV films, like I don't consider Maleficent a live action version of Cinderella. because it's not the Cinderella story, really.
It's also garbage.
Yeah.
Well, yes, but
No,
I can't say whether or not if it's a live action version of the story, if it's garbage. Is it faithful to the story? Like, I'm not going to say you're not a good live action because you're garbage. I'm going to say if you're a good live action if you're faithful to the story. So, like, also Snow White and the Huntsman, not a real. There's not one of the Seven Dwarfs. Actually, you want to know what's a better live action version of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs?
Mirror.
No, I was gonna say Sydney White with Amanda Bynes, where she's in college and tries to like raise a fraternity, and then you have 7 individual like losers who actually all have different versions of
dwarfisms.
Not dwarfism, but like you have a guy who's very angry, so he of course you have like
the
a scientist.
I was just making a haha, but yeah, the different qualities that all the dwarfs possess.
And that was actually a really good version of it. I personally would like to see a Snow White one. I think that would actually be really good.
Yeah, your princess movies are gonna be fine, but like the ones that are gonna be just those don't do these things.
Can we just circle back to Pinocchio here real quick? We have
because
a boy.
You say that, but that's a lot of live action people. Like to me, that one would work.
We have a boy. We have an actor who is a real live boy playing. Let me finish, damn it! Playing a doll who wants to be a boy who turns into a mule. I don't want to see that. That's just a little too confusing for me.
I feel like Jonathan Taylor Thomas was in this too, the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah! Oh, yeah! I do remember this.
I'm not doubting that it exists. I'm saying that it shouldn't have existed twice. I'm not about this at all. And there's also a whale, and I don't need any of this.
Let's say my movies that I was gonna veto was gonna be Bambi, just because
of the pichu dead mama.
Well, I mean, nah.
Kevin Hart could play Thumper. He's already played a rabbit. Just bring that same rabbit.
This is his pre-Life of Pets.
Yes. Yeah.
Ricky was Bambi's mom.
Yeah, we can rename it. It'll be just like Maleficent. We just call it Thumper.
I'd watch that.
I'd watch that too.
You actually like that was one of the few things I really enjoyed Kevin Hart in lately was Secret Life of Pets.
There we go.
Because that was a great time. I would watch it, but yeah, you couldn't. Because honestly, didn't we cover this on a past cast, or maybe I was talking with other people off the cast? But what's the ending to Bambi? Like, do you guys know the story of Bambi? Yeah. I know up until Bambi's mom gets shot.
Bambi doesn't die.
Bambi's mom gets shot.
Right.
He kind of goes off. There's a quick little like time skip, and then he's a teenager. Him and his dad save the forest from a fire, and then that's it.
Okay.
That's it. He just
like don't remember.
The final shot's like Bambi looking over the forest, looking all majestic, and then up above on a higher rock, like it kind of spans over, and it's like there's his dad, and his dad kind of like walks away, and it's like, yeah, you did good, kid. And just walks away.
One that might be the worst Disney film to ever be live action, just because of how racist it is. Songs of the South. With Brer Rabbit, and it is the one where Zippity Doo-Dah Zippity A is from, and it's the movie that Splash Mountain is based off of. Mm-hmm. But that movie is it's so racist that I don't know.
Wasn't it already live action?
Yeah. Kind of, but I mean,
it's kind of like a Roger Rabbit-esque.
But the Brer Rabbit parts weren't live action, so you could really do it to a certain extent.
Gotcha. I would not want to see Goofy movie live.
No, but there's no humans in that either. Or unless you're talking about humanating Goofy even more.
Exactly.
To where I don't want to see a dog man walking around, especially if they're going to make him look how Beast looks in this movie.
One movie I would like to see...
Songs of the South?
No.
So like
I would like to see the Fantasia bits in a live action setting, but like...
We already did Sorcerer's Apprentice with Nick Cage. Isn't that what that was?
No,
it was loosely based off of it, but it wasn't exactly that.
But I mean, pretty much.
That was a good movie.
That's all that was, right?
Kind of. Yeah.
I'm thinking about it.
There's a mop and Nick Cage.
I was kind of talking more about the Night on Bald Mountain with Chernobog.
I'm not
the
familiar
demon in the
at
mountain.
Nick Cage?
Yes.
Nick Cage could be just. You could do a Fantasia movie
the-
where Nick Cage is a character in every version.
The
of
finale song in the first Fantasia.
Be Our Guest?
No.
I've never seen Fantasia.
Oh, dude.
It's actually really good, especially if you like classical music.
The final song in the second Fantasia would be also a pretty cool thing to make a story of.
So I guess this is where we're running into a little trouble with this: is what can you do that is live action? Isn't like, does it have to have some cartoon pieces, some human pieces? Because if that's the case, our list is very limited as to what you could even do possibly.
That's correct.
As live action.
I would not want to see Nightmare Before Christmas as a live action thing.
Yes.
You know what?
As much as
Tim
I
Burton's
love that
doing
movie, but,
Dumbo
like-
also, but he did Alice in Wonderland. I'd be okay with Tim Burton never making another movie.
Damn.
Like, the man had some good things, but it's what we were talking about. It's everything's such a downer with him, and he cast the same like looking people all the time. Like, you know what? I'll go see a Tim Burton movie again if the trailer is bright and vivid.
If it has a blonde in it.
Alice in Wonderland had a blonde in it. I can't say
that's
that.
True.
So, if it's bright, vivid, and there's someone with a tan. If there's a character with a tan.
Well, you definitely don't want to go see live action Nightmare Before Christmas.
No, I don't.
See, I don't want to see live because it's just gonna be just like every other Tim Burton movie where it's just like, here's my favorite 3 people in the world, and then I'm gonna put them in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's just like, why don't you not cast those, and why don't there's more people that can act in the world.
You know what I'd like to see, even if it's in the vein of like Jungle Book or how we're gonna get this Lion King, live action version of Robin Hood.
Oh,
With the fox.
Oh yeah, that'd be dope.
I actually really like that film.
With the animals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would, especially if you're gonna do it like you did Jungle Book and like how you're supposedly doing Lion King. Like, let's see how Lion King looks. But if Lion King looks good, I want Robin
I'd be on
Hood.
board for that. Better than like a Russell Crowe. This is how Robin Hood started, but Robin Hood was 45 when he started being Robin Hood, and there was a war. Oh.
Also along those lines, if we could do it, because the sets would have to be so big by contrast, The Great Mouse Detective, and have it directed by oh my god, I'm blanking on his name now all of a sudden. Lock, Stock, Guy Ritchie.
Yeah.
Do The Great Mouse Detective, because it's Sherlock Holmes as a mouse.
Yeah.
Just have Guy Ritchie do The Great Mouse Detective.
Yeah.
I would love that.
It'd be okay.
I think that'd be great. We're getting a Little Mermaid. Has anyone watched the footage on that yet? I know they just released some.
Oh, I didn't.
That
know.
was
That's not Disney?
It's not
Okay.
Disney, but it's like because the Little Mermaid story is beyond Disney. They just took
adapted it.
That one is like mermaids are apparently a hot thing now.
Because that one could get scary too.
Yeah, that
Ursula
one's like
could get really freaky.
There's no Ursula. There's a circus
Okay.
that has a mermaid, and the guy from Royals, the greatest show on television of all time, plays the lead. And she like the king of the train has the mermaid's soul, and she can't escape without her soul. And there's no water.
Gotcha.
It looks dumb.
Okay.
So, Little Mermaid, though, if it's a Disney version, that would be interesting because I think you'd have a lot of kids very scared of Ursula. Because I was scared of Ursula as a little kid to a certain extent. At the end there.
She's a giant she-octopus.
Yes.
It's like a minotaur, but backwards, and an octopus.
And when she gets huge there at the end, it could be.
I actually wouldn't be surprised if people see that Aquaman looks good. If they're
Oh,
like,
and
we
then-
could do this.
Yeah, I wouldn't. That would make sense.
Thieves.
Okay, so I guess the next question though then becomes songs or no songs in your live action. Beauty and the Beast obviously has lots of songs. Jungle Book had very few. They just came out saying they're doing Mulan, but that's going to have no songs.
I think you do it the right way. I think you do a couple. You don't
Always a
do the
couple, no
whole
matter
thing, but I think you
the movie, because like they said, Mulan's got 0.
I mean,
For example, like if we did Pocahontas.
I think Mulan would have been good with a song or two, with just like one or two. Same with Jungle Book.
All you would need is let's get
Make
down to
a-
business.
Yeah, make a man out of you. Yeah.
That's all you need. Maybe
I'm actually surprised they're not doing that because you could
Mulan's only got
that.
3 songs. The Bring Honor to Our Family song or whatever.
You'll bring honor to us all. Do, do, do.
Yeah, and then the song where
That's a
she's
great
like-
movie.
the song where
Mulan's
she's,
really
like,
good.
lamenting about
we talk
gender
about
roles and stuff.
voices. And we talked about voices in Lion King where it seems like we talk like there's certain ones we want to bring back. is Eddie Murphy just has to come back as the lizard, or could you get someone else?
As Mushu?
Yeah.
Is his name Mushu?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's either got to be Eddie Murphy or or you can just have Chris Rock.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with Chris Rock.
I don't know if Chris Rock would do it though. Chris Rock seems like
Chris Tucker.
Oh, I don't know if he'd do it either. He's too
What's
selective.
he doing?
Nothing, but that's the thing. Like he doesn't.
It's because he's so selective. Everybody wants him, but he won't do anything. That's not accurate, probably. I mean, yeah, I guess I would like a couple songs from each one. You just have to properly do it.
Yeah.
I just had another one in here.
Pinocchio.
Oh, The Emperor's New Groove. I think you could do it, and Patrick Warburton could play his actual.
Play Kronk.
Could play Kronk live action as well.
You have to work out a little bit, but
He could do it.
of course he could. He's a talented man. I mean, that fortunately is a lot of humans in that. More humans than not.
No, but live action, like it would develop it to live action. You make the llama an actual like moving around talking llama. Like,
Does he stand on two legs in that?
At some
as
point.
a llama?
sometimes, yeah.
Okay. Just figuring out how visually that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a
That might not
talking
play.
moving llama. It's not going to play a lot at all. So what other ones, if you had to like think about it? Because like I know people talk about Hercules all the time. Like they could do
Hercules
that
would be
as a live
nice.
action.
I remember I had this whole like fan cast of who I would want the Hercules people to be.
Kevin Sorbo.
Channing Tatum.
Nope. Sorbo.
I would love Sorbo because that's the Hercules I grew up on. But we'll go over that.
We can do
later.
Channing Tatum as a baby, Sorbo as teen.
And then, of course, do you touch this? Because we talk about iconic voices with it. Aladdin.
Yeah, they'll do it eventually.
Yeah,
I thought they already were
it's
saying
on
it.
Broadway already. There's a
I
Broadway
know.
show
I'm talking about make a live action film with it.
I think they already are. I think they're moving. I thought
Have they moved forward with it?
I thought they were saying they were moving forward with it because the big thing was that they are casting all Middle Eastern people for it.
Okay.
Okay.
I was talking about though with the genie
Because, yeah, for
and
the
Robin
genie, yeah.
Williams.
I mean, there's voice actors that can replicate Robin Williams.
Of course there are, but I don't know. People didn't want to see the Joker because of Heath Ledger, and
That's dumb.
that's a recurring thing. So I don't know. That's a
well, because other people have already played Genie, I believe.
Yeah.
once
in games or
In games, sure.
things like that. So I think you recast. I think the question is, do you try and do someone that impersonates him, or do you do something that's a different spin? I would argue you do a different spin.
So you make him not funny then.
No, I think you make him funny, but you don't try and do an impression.
Gotcha. Do you like the idea that Aladdin is a post-apocalyptic version of where we live? Because the genie says he's been locked in that lamp for like thousands and thousands of years, and all of his references end at like the 90s.
Oh yeah,
Like a very hardcore, like dead-on 90s reference. So it's like, society's taking a huge step backwards.
I mean, I'm fine with it. That's just part of the fun of Disney. They're just being able to be like, maybe.
Do you connect them all like how we see in Frozen and like
No.
how they're... No?
This is the boat that the Little Mermaid's mom sank in, but that's also where
That's where Tarzan comes
that's
from.
where
too.
they had Parent Trap, and Parent Trap's a Disney movie.
I know. Both of them were. Because the one with Lindsay Lohan's a remake.
Yep.
I know that.
All right. But no, I think you do connect them. Why? Because it's something we haven't
Wait,
talked
wait,
about
wait.
on this show
Yes!
for a long time.
Disney Princess Civil War.
Yes. Because if you start connecting them, we can get Disney Princess Civil War.
All right, who's the Samuel Jackson of Disney princesses? Who's the one that brings everybody together? Is it Rafiki?
No,
Zazu?
we have two options.
Why does it have to be someone from Lion King?
A,
Is wise?
it can be it could be like a fairy godmother.
No.
No, Jiminy Cricket.
Ooh, I like
No.
that one. Yeah. Jimmy, I mean, you're talking about like the face of Disney outside of Mickey Mouse for the longest time.
I want
like,
it to be someone
Or-
unexpected.
Oh, unexpected?
Or this is how we tie in Kingdom Hearts and just
Ooh,
Have it be a
what
Final
if you did
Fantasy
that?
person.
Yeah.
no, we just you're Sora, the protagonist.
Okay.
From Kingdom Hearts
Fine.
ties it all together.
I want it to be somebody.
Do you have someone
If
specific
you do enough
in
of
mind?
these, do you think you could pitch a live-action Kingdom Hearts movie? I think that would actually...
You
Yes,
got to get a
but
lot
gain
of.
It's
some
a
interest.
lot of rights. To
There's
do
a lot
that,
of
though.
rights going on there.
But doesn't Disney own most of those rights?
Yes, but like Final Fantasy, like Square Enix still owns kind of most of the rights for Kingdom Hearts, so it's not like they can
I mean, if anyone's got the money to write the check big enough, it's
Sure, but I don't think
It's
the demand.
Disney.
I don't think the demand's there.
gotcha.
Yeah. Do you have someone specific in mind?
No, I just want it to be someone that's like mildly obscure, so then we can have a conversation when this does happen of like, these princesses weren't even a big deal until the Civil War came out, just like we have with the Avengers. Like, the Avengers weren't even a big deal 20 years ago. Nobody cared about Lady and the Tramp 20 years ago, and now they're at the center of everything. The Tramp could be Robert Downey Jr.
That'd be great.
Is that a throwback to Chaplin?
Sure.
Or he
He did play that. No, that was not my original intent,
Okay.
but I'll go with it.
I mean, you could have Baloo. I could picture Baloo walking out with an eye patch, mimicking Sam Jackson to do it. No one would see that coming.
Correct. And that's part of the charm, right?
Yeah. Or if you wanted to go more logical, you could do Genie because he could jump in between.
That would actually make sense. And that would be dope.
Disney, get on this.
Hi, I'm Danny Rand. I've been away a long time.
Let's go. You don't belong here.
I'm Danny Rand. Guys, I just want to talk. Welcome to Rand Enterprises.
Marvel's Iron Fist is out in, not theaters, but on Netflix now.
Yeah, it is.
So, speaking of connected universes, let's delve into it. I can't even think straight now because you guys are just laughing so hard.
There's kung fu in it.
Yeah. You guys are making those connections.
Danny Rand.
Let's talk about, as usual, we always talk about just the first episode. This will be the third time we've done this. We did it with Jessica Jones. We did it with Luke Cage, if you want to go back and listen to those episodes respectively. However, this is the last one before we get to Defenders. And, yeah.
Are we getting another Daredevil season before Defenders?
No, we're getting
Okay.
Defenders early. No, we're getting Defenders late this year.
Okay.
Because every year Marvel's doing 2 releases. So I think next year we get like season 2 of Jessica Jones and season 3 of Daredevil.
Weird.
And
Okay.
then you'll get like a season 2 of Luke Cage. And Iron Fist is the only one that's yet to be renewed for a second season. But that's because it just debuted. But maybe it won't see it, according to what reviews are right now. As low as 14% on Rotten Tomatoes. But we'll give you our first take on the first episode, starting off with the intro, because all of these intros have been very much the same. Like
Very cool.
Very cool. This one feels cashed in.
Yeah,
That's the only thing I didn't actually see because I walked in on it right at the start and I just missed that.
This one feels cashed in. The music isn't as interesting as the other ones. Like with Jessica Jones, you got that like noir kind of mystery feel to it with purple laced everywhere and the shadows. Daredevil, you get the blood running down. With Luke Cage, you get the Harlem feel and going around the city. Here, it's just a figure like almost like an EDM music video doing kung fu.
I'm pretty sure they used bits and pieces of the Tron soundtrack.
Yeah, like it's just like,
I'm almost positive.
and it's just this person doing kung fu, like the shadow doing kung fu, and every time they move, like black
I like
streams off of it.
I like that.
You felt cashing. It's like, okay, what worked in these last ones? All right, just do this. Just keep doing this and see what happens. And it just wasn't the best intro that you could have done. Anyway, then of course, we jump into the actual show itself. And this was probably the thing I liked most about the entire episode was like the opening of it. Is he's walking up to listening to So Fresh and So Clean on a first-gen iPod. You see him in the elevator when he tries to sneak into the building, not realizing that buildings now have key cards and everything. So you got the feel very much of this guy had been away for 10 to 15 years. So all these modern advancements were kind of like new and strange to him.
Everything about all the places that he knows has changed slightly.
Exactly. And that was written very well. So I was very happy about that. There's the first fight scene also that's gotten some negative reviews where he takes out the guards at the very beginning of the episode where people are like, that was lazy, that was lackluster. I'm going to play devil's advocate on this one and make an argument that fight scene felt like he's not trying to hurt them, so he's doing just basic, lazy kung fu to be like, get out of here, get away, I'm done. No, stop, I don't want to hurt you. I'm just trying to get in, stop. And like, it's like 2 disarmament moves and just back away. Like, slow, like, there is no real threat here, there's no real force. It's just kind of evading, almost.
Yeah. I mean, he's not going to Iron Fist him.
Right. So, like, that felt okay to me. Like, I didn't need that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm getting to some downsides here.
I mean, there were a few things about it that were sloppy. The big thing that was just, it's not that it was bad, it was just it was kind of sloppy. Like, he stopped a door, like, he took a nightstick and put it in a door handle to stop them from following him. But the door handles were, like, huge, and the nightstick would have just fallen right off of them. And it was also, like, clear glass doors, so they would have still seen him get on the elevators and, like, called up to security. Like,
Yeah.
that part was just kind of lazy. Like, oh, that, like, the shtick in a modern, like, technological building where we are, like, oh, there's key codes and stuff to get into things now. It's like beating four guys at the door and then sticking a stick in between you and them. Like, that doesn't work anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So that was just kind of sloppy.
So he gets up there and we meet the two people. I can't even think of their names. This is what happens when you only watch one episode.
Joy and bad actor.
Joy
and Ward.
Joy and Ward. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, sorry, Ward.
But yeah, let's talk about that. He's the worst part of this show so far.
You had so much faith in him.
I was optimistic.
First scene we watched.
Because I really do like that scene. Because if he only plays the scene that one time, it comes off very cold, very like, this is beneath me, this is a crazy man, I don't want him in the room. So no emotion is actually called for in that scene. But when you go through other scenes, like a car running almost off the top of a building, or your life potentially being endangered, or your dad talking down to you, there should be some emotion there.
No,
and then there was none.
Yeah, that dude's awful.
Yeah.
Does he continue to be awful, Garrett?
Yeah.
Jackpot. Yeah, that sucked me out of it so quickly. And also, I made my prediction.
But you
for
never
you right
said
away.
it. You said, I asked you, you never finished the sentence.
What did you ask?
No, you said, I can see what's going to happen here. And I think Lando did something and you got distracted. And I was
Oh,
like,
it's
what?
that Joy is going to end up being the
that
villain.
prediction. Okay.
Because the other guy is painted so clearly as like, this guy's awful. And Joy's like kind of maybe not awful. That guaranteed Joy's really the one that's like, sinister. You're the only one that's seen the whole thing.
That's why we're just looking at you. I was going to see if you had a
I
time.
wasn't expecting it to
Spoiler
somewhat
anything?
come to fruition, but it already did in the first episode, towards the end.
I mean, it was his father. It's not.
Well, but Joy poisoned him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
but
we'll
the other guy was there too.
True,
So-
he showed up and was just standing there acting badly.
Yeah.
But let's talk about whoever plays Danny Rand. I can't think of his actual.
Finn-
That's the Knight of Flowers.
Yeah.
What?
So Loras Tyrell.
I am so glad I don't watch Game of Thrones because seeing this guy actually as Danny Rand, I think it's giving me a little bit more appreciation for it because I actually like him as Danny Rand. He is very.
I do too.
He's very like. And I don't have
Zen.
I don't have any prior knowledge to his acting abilities or anything, but he comes in, he is very tranquil, he says some philosophy. It's how I've said that the Iron Fist character should be played. And it's giving back to the earth and
I mean, it's very tranquil, but also he's got like that West. I mean, it's a classic trope. Like Westerner goes to the Far East and finds
Sure.
enlightenment, but they handle it in the way that it's supposed to be. Where like, yes, he has all this tranquility and he's found these secrets and stuff, but he's still a Western guy. So like, there are moments where he just like gets upset and is just like, this is ridiculous. But he tries to maintain like that focus, but it clearly is not always that way.
right. And some of that I think has to do with like anytime those people or those characters do that stuff is they're not raised, so it's usually like it's like the Jedi train or whatever that they talk about. You're not born into it, so you're not integrated, so you have these past feelings. But like I said, he's one of the bright spots of the show. And if so far they've hit every casting as far as the four major characters that are going to be making up the Defenders here later on this year.
I'm bought in with him. I'm really interested to see where the lady goes. The lady in the dojo, the master.
Colleen Wing.
Yeah, she seemed interesting. It was a little bit of a slow episode.
Yeah.
I guess that's just because I wanted things to start generating.
I will say this is the worst of the premieres out of all four,
Agreed.
by far.
This one didn't have me like bought in.
But I have hope for it because there were a few things that caught my interest. And if there's one thing every season so far has had of these Netflix Marvel shows is pacing problems.
Yep.
From episode to episode. And I was talking about this with someone the other day is, listen, if this was on a sci-fi channel or on ABC, yeah, I'd want these to be 13 episodes long because they're only 45-minute episodes. There's commercials. It's every week. Like but since we're binging it, The Defenders is only going to be 6. I'm actually really happy The Defenders is only 6. Get in, get out, because if there's one thing that these series tend to suffer from is filler episodes. When you're trying to tell a story all complete in one, I don't think every show Netflix has needs to be 13 episodes. And I'm starting to feel that way now with more of their other stuff too.
Get there. I think they're still evolving, and I think that we'll get to that point.
And and that's good because like a good example I use with other Netflix shows that's not Marvel related is House of Cards. Like the first 2 seasons needed 13 episodes. Later seasons, there were some episodes that I just didn't care about. And same with like I just finished Luke Cage like 2 hours before I watched Iron Fist, so I could actually be caught up. Which, speaking of which, this is how you do an Easter egg. This is how you do a connection. It was very good, I thought. Colleen is putting up the flyers that you see Rosario Dawson's character take a number from at the end of Luke Cage. So right away you can already figure out how she's going to eventually come into play with this. And I'm like, okay, that's how you make a connection. It wasn't beat over your head with it. It was just we're telling a story, and these two are parts of the story. And if you happen to catch it, you can guess where it's coming next. Yeah. We're not telegraphing anything. It's not that we're telling the story badly even at that point. It's just this is part of the story. Can you predict what's going to happen based on what you see?
Yeah.
So, like I said, it had good moments. The Ward character's awful. The dude from 300, I don't know how to feel about him just yet.
I don't understand the age difference between that father and that son. Like, the son looks too old to be
he could have had him at
he is, but also the dad looks too
Here's the thing.
young to be at the stage that he is.
I think it's the dad's haircut.
Maybe.
Here's the thing.
And
like,
the son's haircut.
Yeah. Like, I could believe that they'd be father and son if they weren't, like, a big business type family. Because, like, clearly this guy didn't have him at 18. But I could believe, in another version of it that this person had this kid at 18. Like, I could see 48 and 30 on these two characters. But you don't get that feeling. Like, I feel like the dude's supposed to be, like, in his 20s. And he definitely doesn't look in his 20s.
Yeah. I also think that it's Creedenston. We haven't really gotten to the story whatsoever. But I think that Netflix also did a good job of casting a really shitty teenage actor to play that guy as a teenager in the one cutscene that they did, which didn't make any sense. Like, I get it. Like, as the first episode evolves, you see that what's his name, Wade's dad is a dick to him, so I guess he's mad at Danny's parents for loving him. But they're just like playing Monopoly, and he's just like, "Fuck you, kid," and then just like slams his shit on the table and kicks him in the dick, and you're like, "Here's your parents." Ah!
He's being
and then the thing about that, like, I get that, but like kids picking on kids. But then when Danny's parents show up, he's like, Danny's being a handful, and they're like, "Oh no!" Like, what do you mean being a handful? What does that mean? Like, what? Shit's just everywhere, and Danny's sitting there, and you, the oldest kid, looks like you can probably drive and take care of yourself. Just like, this 13-year-old's impossible.
I don't know.
It didn't paint a great picture going forward.
Yeah.
Right, and that's the thing. You just answer that. Is that ever truly explained?
No.
The hatred? Okay, because that was one thing that is not explained early on in Luke Cage, but Luke Cage did evolve in the end with Diamondback and Luke Cage, and the reason they have that back and forth and why they would go at each other. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was one of the things that redeemed it more towards the tail end of Luke Cage.
It's less explained and more just completely like almost written out of his character and just given to somebody else's character.
Perfect.
And if you remember, we heard stories for the longest time about Iron Fist. There was talks that they weren't going to do it anymore, and then they were having trouble casting it, and then it seemed like they drop a story every 3 months to be like, "Hey guys, remember, this is a thing. We are doing it." You can go back and listen to our cast for the last year and a half, and that's almost like a story every other month, it seems like, leading up to this. So I almost wonder if this is like it was kind of rushed together here at the end to where it's like, crap, we did promise 4 of these. We had an idea for 3 of them. Let's just put it out there.
Well, I think you also suffer from you can't. This is the one that most closely fits the Daredevil spectrum, whereas with Jessica Jones you can do a noir, with Luke Cage you can do kind of like a blaxploitation kind of spoof. Yeah. With this one, you're kind of going back to the kung fu, like mystical arts kind of thing. So you have to figure out a way to do it differently from Daredevil, which is getting rid of one of the most compelling parts of Daredevil, which is the lawyering.
Yeah.
Like, that's really cool. So now you have to find out, because this guy right now is just a mysterious kung fu guy. And so you have to build a story not having that secondary element that you can always fall back to.
Yeah.
Their element that they had to fall back to was, oh, my brain hurts. And so the really weird like shift when he does flashbacks. Like, it was almost like staticky. Mm-hmm. I thought that was strange.
We make fun, although we keep hearing it's better, but we haven't watched it this season, of Arrow a lot for the past year on the show. But I feel like if there was one show that they could have taken an example from, was Arrow. Like, it would have worked for season 1 of Iron Fist. Like, you know, we always talked about how we would hate, especially in season 4, where it's like, of course there's a flashback coming up here.
Yeah.
But at least those flashbacks seemed transitionally to fit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What, you didn't always need them, but they transitionally fit. I feel like Iron Fist could have learned from what Arrow did there and could have been... Because to essentially, it's like the first episode, you could have done an Arrow setup. Like,
I think
the plane goes down and
figure
out what happens.
It's similar. I don't think it's as bad as people were saying it was, but I think it does that. They do get merit when they say that it wasn't interesting enough to make you forget about the mistakes.
Right.
And that it didn't tease you enough with what's actually coming. They didn't introduce the hand, which I assume will be a part of it.
Yes.
Just with shaping up with what the defenders will be. They didn't do enough to make me salivate over what's to come, to make me not think about how shitty the actor was that played Ward, or like things like that.
Right. And I think that part of that is also that it's the last one too. Mm-hmm. Like, this has been the first, like, yeah, people might have found problems with it, but you didn't know how good they could be. Right. So you don't have as high of an expectation. So I guess what we're going to do now is we're going to figure out, like, watch it. We'll start with Garret, because you've seen it all. Like, is it worth watching from, I guess, 2 perspectives? 1, was it entertaining? And 2, is it worth watching just to set up, if you're already invested in this universe, for the Defenders themselves?
I mean, if you're already invested in, watch it. Like, you've already come this far, you might as well. But also, like, it does
pick up.
It does pick up. I watched like 6 episodes, another like 4 episodes, and then I watched the last 3 episodes Saturday night. And I'm trying to think of how to say this without like spoiling anything.
Is there an incident that happens? Like in Jessica Jones, there's something that happens like around episode 6 or 7, to where, like, I'll be honest, I didn't like the first half of Jessica Jones. I loved the second half though. You know what I'm saying? To where, like, there's like there's that water room scene or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Or in Daredevil, there's like this scene with him and Frank Castle on the roof.
Yes,
or there's like,
but it's not as impactful.
Okay.
Yeah, and I guess I'll just leave it at that,
because
I
like
can't
even
think of any way to like say this without
even in Luke Cage, there's the final fight scene with Luke Cage, which I actually really liked because we hadn't seen him go fisticuffs on anyone.
Yeah.
In the entire story until then.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm glad that there's a little pick me up. I would say watch it because there were enough things, and if nothing else, once again, what's his name? The actor that plays Danny Rand? Vin Jones. Finn Jones is actually good enough as Danny Rand. And I like that character. I fell in love with that character watching Ultimate Spider-Man, and I thought that like he was a good addition to being like keeping everyone kind of in that peaceful state of mind. And his backstory can be really cool if they do it right. So I'm very interested to see where it goes, and I like the corporate espionage of it because also I feel like sometimes that's also one of the best beeline stories in superhero comics. Now whether or not that plays out is another story. But so I would say watch it. It's got enough hooked, and just even seeing the end of Jessica Jones and the end of Luke Cage, I think there's going to be important information that you're going to need for Defenders when that happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm guessing you agree with that little...
Oh, yeah. So, we're back to see it or don't see it. Yeah, I mean, I want to watch it. I think we've already committed to it at this point. I think then once the Defenders happens, that's when they can figure out if you want to tap out, which fortunately for them... He's the easiest one to tap out because you just say that he has to go somewhere to do something.
This will be my last question, and then we'll go forward. Actually, I wouldn't even say that. Just put him with Luke Cage and do the...
Heroes for Hire.
Yeah,
do
the
that.
pairing.
Do that for your Luke Cage season 2.
Or season 3. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think they already have enough built up for Luke Cage season 2 that you could do it, but I think that's how you would merit a 3rd season out of Luke Cage or whatever. Like, maybe Iron Fist is the one series that doesn't need...
Or hell, maybe that's
maybe
that's even how you merit a 2nd season out of Iron Fist.
Yeah, or that too, because if anyone could jump, it's Mike Coulter, as he's already done with Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
So we've seen this all set up going towards the Defenders. My last thing here is, do you want to see them progress in the Marvel MCU? Because one of the things I found, I actually want to see it, because there's one thing that I kind of felt with a disconnect already is, in Luke Cage, they're still referring to the incident, man. Oh, man, like, I've got copies of, like, the alien attack or whatever. Now I feel like after Civil War, I want to see it progress to after Civil War, to where maybe once the Defenders actually goes, your seasons after that is, we can't trust these superheroes or whatever, because clearly they fight. They do these other things. Like, if you had these big things with Iron Man and... Because I feel like now we're still in a story that takes place before Civil War.
That'd be a good excuse as to why they need to step in for the Defenders, is because, well, like, heroes are on the down. Like, heroes aren't going to do anything.
Right.
So if we got to do this street level, like...
So that's what I mean by, like, progress in the Marvel MCU.
Oh,
like, it seems
sure.
like we're kind of stuck still after, oh, man, the Chitauri came or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like other shit has happened to where it's like,
Yeah,
I
that's
feel
fine.
like I'm still watching something that would take place during Iron Man 3 or something.
I saw something that it was just like a little fan art thing, but it would make sense to do it this way. Having a fourth Captain America movie and it being Secret Avengers of just Captain America and all these street level fighters.
I mean, it's kind of how they set up the end of Civil War, I think,
Yeah.
is like, that's what you're getting. Yeah. And no, I'd like to see that too. And well, I think we've talked about this in other casts. I don't really think, though, that you can take these characters and put them into
No, it doesn't work.
the movie universe. But I want to see them progress, though, with the story. Because now that you're writing these other seasons, you know that Civil War happened. You know the storyline. So to me, like, that's your next benchmark. That's the thing that would dictate how the public views. Like, Avengers was the introduction. Now here comes the distrust. Like, that's your little next arc on. And if you do that, then I'm fine once again with these Netflix series.
And honestly, I'm just kind of like quick scanning through.
Sure.
This is probably the one that refers to any of the other movies the least.
That's also not a bad thing.
No, it's not.
It's not
Just
a bad
like
thing
a
either. Because actually,
on-topic thing.
we talk about this with the DC universe, like Supergirl's not on the same stuff as like the main universe and everything else. I would even have been okay if like these weren't connected. Like you had the Defenders universe and then you had the Avengers universe. But it's just anytime I hear about the incident, I'm just like, God, this isn't what it is. But anyway, long story short, go see it, stream it. It's pretty good. As usual, we end every episode with what's piquing your interest, or we just say what's piquing our interest. Garrett, you got out of it last week. Can you do it 2 weeks in a row? What's piquing your interest?
No, I know what's piquing my interest this time. So what's piquing my interest is cosplay. I commissioned 2 different pieces for my cosplay stuff, and I'm just really excited. I'm hoping they can get done in time for C2E2.
Not ready to unveil what they are yet, or?
I mean, I'll reveal what they are. I don't care. My first one, I'm going as the main character from BioShock, Jack, and I commissioned a crossbow for because that's been my favorite weapon from the game. It's fucking awesome. It's a goddamn crossbow. But shout out to Indo Hyus Props. That's INDOHYUS Props. I found him on Instagram, and he's working on the crossbow for that. And then my buddy Tom is working on. I'm finally getting around to getting my Iron Spider done. Like he started on that, so I'm just like.
Is that like because you're a huge Spider-Man fan, is that the pinnacle Spider-Man costume to you, at least to cosplay in, or is there one after like the intricacy of Iron Spider that you would love to do?
Currently, that is the pinnacle.
Okay. All right. We should throw some pictures up on the Instagram whenever you get the bow up and.
Yeah, well, I haven't gotten any photos yet, but he said he'll be done with the crossbow towards the end of this next week, and then shipping it out. So
yeah,
Nice.
We'll throw some pictures up when that's actually completed. Sam, what's piquing your interest?
I'm stealing what Garrett and I were both going to have as our peaked interest last week, and then we both forgot.
Yeah, that was
Edgar
fun.
Wright's new movie, Baby Driver. If you like Edgar Wright and you like the idea of him doing a spoof on driving action movies, this is for you. Starring the kid from Fault in Our Stars, from critically acclaimed,
yeah,
critically acclaimed Shailene Woodley,
and the Divergent series.
and the Divergent series. As a driver, named Baby, and Jamie Foxx, and John Hamm, and John Barenthal, and Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
And Flea
Yeah.
from the Red Hot Chili
I saw
Peppers.
it, yeah.
Just kicking ass. It's a great trailer. You should watch it.
He talked about the musical aspect of it.
Yeah, apparently he wants it to, like, it's supposed to be as close to a musical as possible without it actually being a musical. So apparently music plays a huge role in it.
And that intrigues me in movies. Like, when you can do that really well, the soundtrack is going to be great.
Yeah,
Like-
I'm super stoked about it. Feel free to watch the trailer. The U.S. trailer, I think, is far superior to the international trailer just because it's more of the comedy. So I'd check that out. But, yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, it's probably will be the best soundtrack since Guardians, which is what's piquing my interest this week. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 has cast Michael Rosenbaum, the former
legend.
Lex Luthor himself on Smallville, in what is supposedly a key role in the upcoming film. He's going to play a key Marvel role
Lady Death.
next to his partner in the movie, Sylvester Stallone. So apparently Sylvester Stallone and Michael Rosenbaum play key Marvel characters, and Michael Rosenbaum is apparently very much a lot in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And they're going to play key roles in this movie. Now, Michael Rosenbaum, like I said, is best known for Smallville, where he does dramatic stuff on that and was a very good Lex Luthor. But he's first and foremost a comedic actor.
Indeed.
Some of his best stuff is the behind-the-scenes audio reels that they do are voiceover commentary for some of the episodes. There's a specific episode from Season 2, the Red episode, that if you have the Season 2 DVD set of Smallville, watch the Red episode with voice commentary by Michael Rosenbaum and Tom Welling. You will not be disappointed.
Man's damn talented.
I mean, he's a funny guy. So that I am super excited for that.
Agreed.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around Michael Rosenbaum and Sylvester Stallone hanging out.
Right?
That's just
Because I also love Sylvester Stallone. I'm like, this is great.
and I'm also just like trying to
Like what? I think there might
Who
be
would they
people
be
in the
playing?
Nova Corps or something.
Two
maybe
watchers.
Like, oh yeah, something. I mean, I have no clue. But I mean, you're gonna have Ego, the Living Planet. We saw the first footage of Russell on the last trailer. So, I'm excited to see what this could actually be.
or are they going to introduce like other classic Guardians?
Yeah, because I think that's his dream is like to keep expanding
Yeah, and just grow kind of that space group.
and see what happens. So, however, if you have any idea what their roles could be, or if you have any idea what characters are floating out there in the Marvel Universe space, let us know by emailing us at 3wiseradio@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram at 3wiseradio, on Twitter at 3wiseradio /hashtag 3wiseradio, or on Facebook at 3wise Media. Our sister podcast is Movie Versus, which comes out every Thursday. And next week, you get a double feature from us. We're going to review our next installment of the movie train. Life. I don't care if they can see it or not. It just helped my flow to say it.
For anyone listening, Joe just crossed his arms like Wolverine, except he had two fingers up on both hands and was like, ooh, double feature.
Double feature. I mean, we've done this before. We did it with Deadpool and Zoolander. I'm hoping that both these movies are better than Zoolander.
Well, that won't be hard.
But Power Rangers, and then like I was getting to, our next installment of the movie train, Life, which I'm actually very excited to see. So we're rounding out March in a very big way. We'll see you next week.
3 Wise Radio is a production of 3 Wise Media. For more information, check us out on Facebook.